Good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday. We have an amazing show for everybody today. What do we have, Krystal?
Indeed, we do. So we have a lot to get to with regard to Biden, and also we have a lot of international news to catch up on. So we are doing all of that today with regard to Biden. There was absolute chaos in the press briefing room yesterday. This is in regards to visits to the White House repeatedly of a Parkinson's expert. They wanted to stonewall and not acknowledge she was there. Or his name. It was a crazy situation. So we'll show you all of that and also what they are saying now this morning. Today is perhaps the critical day for Biden and his re-election bid. This is when House Democrats in the House and the Senate are meeting. So we'll show you what top Democrats are saying about all of that. The View's Whoopi Goldberg giving him an interesting endorsement. And CNN, surprisingly, doing a little fact-checking of President Biden for once. So we'll show you all of that. We also have some updates for you with regard to Israel. The death count in Gaza now may be as high as 200,000. That's according to a leading medical journal. Ryan and Jeremy Scahill are going to join us as we brought you here exclusively live yesterday. They have now launched, they've left The Intercept, they've launched their own site called The Drop Site, and they have some controversial interviews with Hamas leadership that you are definitely going to want to hear. We've also got to get you caught up in the elections in the UK. We're bringing in Owen Jones to do that. The elections in France, we're bringing in Arnaud Bertrand to do that. So a lot of experts in the show, lots to get to. Should be a good one.
Before we get to any of that, though, make sure to become a premium subscriber. We are already planning to be on the ground in Chicago. It's going to be a crazy convention. It does cost a lot of money, though.
Glad we booked that trip.
I am so happy we did, yeah. That we don't have to spend as much money because now every person in the entire press corps wants to be down there. But we are booked. We are ready to go. So you can sign up, breakingpoints.com. We're going to have exclusive stuff for our premium subscribers and lots of cool content from the ground there as well. So there you go, breakingpoints.com to become a premium subscriber. Now, as Krystal said, there was absolute chaos that erupted in the White House briefing room after a story began to develop that we brought everybody yesterday. The revelation that a Parkinson's expert had visited the White House some dozen times in the last 2 years, and in one case met with President Biden's official White House physician. Since that revelation, the White House press corps began pressing the press secretary, Karine Jean Pierre. Why did this Parkinson's expert visit the White House? This came after Karine Jean Pierre lied to the press corps about Biden having a medical examination after the debate. Here is what happened in that exchange.
That he gets every year that we provide to all of you.
It's a very basic, direct question.
Wait. Hold on. Wait a second.
Eight times, or at least once, in regards to the president specifically.
Hold on a second.
Not what you should be able to answer by this point.
Wait, no. No, wait a minute. Ed, please. A little respect here, please. So every year, around the president's physical examination, he sees a neurologist. That's 3 times, right? So I am telling you that he has seen a neurologist 3 times while he has been in this presidency. That's what I'm saying. I am telling you that he has seen them 3 times. That is what I'm sharing with you, right? So every time he has a physical, he has had to see a neurologist. So that is answering that question.
No, it's not.
No, it is. It is. You're asking me. I also said to you, Ed, I also said to you, for security reasons, we cannot share names. We cannot share names.
We have to. Others he would have met with. You can share names in regards to if someone came here in regards to the president.
We cannot share names of specialists broadly, from a dermatologist to a neurologist. We cannot share names. There are security reasons. We have to protect. I understand that. I hear you.
Right there for anyone to see.
Ed, I hear you. I cannot from here confirm any of that because we have to keep their privacy. I think they would appreciate that too. We have to give them.
The doctor.
We have to keep their privacy.
It is public information.
I hear you. Guys, hold on a second. There's no reason to go back and forth with me in this aggressive way.
Miffed around here about how information's been shared with the press corps about him.
What are you missed about? What are you missed about?
Everything he just asked about.
And then every time I come back and I answer the question that you guys asked.
Correctly, didn't have to come back and clean up.
I never answered the question incorrectly. That is not true. I was asked about a medical exam. I was asked about a physical. That was in the line of question that I answered. And that is what the specialist said. I just want to take a step back for a second because I do take offense to what Ed alluded to. You know, come out here, every day there's a press briefing, and we do our best to give you the information that we have at the time. That's what we do. And we understand that the freedom of the press, we respect the freedom of the press. You heard me talk about this last week. I appreciate the back and forth that we all have. I try to respect you, and I hope you try to respect me. And we literally do everything that we can. My team does everything that we can to make sure we get the answers to you. That's what we do. And sometimes we disagree. Sometimes we are not in agreement. But you know what? That's democracy. That is what is important, to have that healthy back and forth. And so to say that I'm holding information or allude to anything else is not unfair. It's really, really unfair. I think people who are watching and have been watching this briefing for this past week could say that we are doing our best in this briefing to provide the information that we have. And I will admit, I will be the first one to admit, sometimes I get it wrong. At least I admit that. At least I admit that. And sometimes I don't have the information. And I will always, always admit that. But I do take offense to what was just happening at the beginning of this briefing. It's not okay.
She takes offense. She takes great offense. She is a liar. At the previous press briefing, she said the president did not have any medical checkup. Biden, on a freaking donor call, then says, by the way, I talked to my doctor. Reporters are like, hey, hold on a second. You said he didn't meet with the doctor. They're like, it was a verbal check-in with his doctor. Really? A check-in about not feeling good? That sounds like a medical checkup, because that's the technical definition of the word. Now, in this particular case, Krystal, I said this is probably one of the most bullshit answers in the history of Washington. The reason that we know this is, let's put this up there on the screen. This Parkinson's expert, whose name was on the White House visitors log, was released publicly by the White House under the transparency measures that have been put into place, I believe, by Congress, in which the White House then chooses to abide by. So they publicly released this man's name, including who he was meeting with. The press corps then says, let's be very simple here. Did this man visit the White House in conjunction with the president's health? That's it. Did he visit as it relates to the president's health? That's all we want to know. She says, for security reasons, I cannot get into that. So let's be very clear here. She says, for security reasons, Krystal, I cannot confirm even this gentleman's name, even though the government has admitted that this man visited the White House some 8 times in the last several years. And in addition, that his name is public, including who he was meeting with. So look, if anything, they're not treating her badly enough. They should be shouting her down. You are a liar. Liar. There's no other word for it.
His name was released in public visitor logs. So we can't release the name. That would be inappropriate to release the name of a specialist. And how dare you? I take offense, and it's not fair. Lady. And I love how she's like, at least I admit when I'm incorrect. Yeah. Once you get caught in a brazen lie, you have to come out and clean it up, as Ed says there. The amazing thing, too, is I watched this entire portion of the press briefing with Karine Jean Pierre, and it just goes on from there. I mean, Kelly O'Donnell goes in. There are other reporters that go in as well. And you put it together, and it starts to look very ominous. By the way, the White House the White House physician has now released a letter supposedly explaining these visits, 8 over just the past number of months from a Parkinson's doctor. We'll get to that in a moment. But there's good reason why people are asking these questions. And it's not just because we've now seen that this Parkinson's specialist visited numerous times. We also have President Biden exhibiting symptoms that experts say appear to be consistent, potentially, with a Parkinson's diagnosis. Now, you always want to be careful here. No one wants to diagnose someone remotely, but also he's kind of lost the benefit of the doubt, hasn't he?
Exactly.
Like, it's one thing if it's a private person and you're just baselessly speculating about their health. This is the president of the United States. Him and his staff have been caught in a cover-up of his health condition. So you do not get the benefit of the doubt in this instance. So one article talked to a number of experts. Here's what they had to say. Their conclusion was just, listen, at the very least, he needs to be examined. Something an additional neurological exam, something, by the way, that he has absolutely refused to do now in multiple interviews. We can put this up on the screen, some of the details here. So this is from Paul Campos, medical experts, Biden needs to be evaluated for Parkinson's. He said, since then, I've spoken to several medical experts who believe the odds are high Biden is suffering from some form of Parkinsonism, the cluster of degenerative neurological conditions of which Parkinson's disease is the best known. None of these experts are, of course, purporting to make a formal diagnosis. What they're insisting on is that it's deeply irresponsible not to give Biden the sort of medical examination that would be given to any ordinary 81-year-old who had the evident symptoms he is displaying. We can go on. Some of the details here, I mean, this will ring true for anyone who watched the debate with Biden. According to these experts, Biden has been exhibiting various classic symptoms, including a slowed walk, slight lurching inertia when starting a step or turn, flat face. That's where, his face when he has that like mouth agape, expressionless thing. Yep. That's what they're talking about there. A staring look with diminished blinking, same, and a low, raspy voice, all occurring together. The pathologic elements seem fully aligned. One doctor who's treated many Parkinson's cases told me, let's put the next piece up on the screen, Kelvin Chu, who holds a chair in neurology at the University of Michigan Medical School, told me he has concerns about the neurologic condition of both major candidates and that for President Biden, I think Parkinson's disease would be the top concern given the clips I have seen. Based on chats with my neurologist and movement disorder colleagues, they all agree as well, he added. So again, it's not like this concern of Parkinson's is just random. So when you take the symptoms plus the visits plus the White House's totally preposterous stonewalling and pretending like there's some security concern that keeps you from even mentioning this person's name, yeah, if this was Donald Trump's White House, what conclusion would be immediately drawn.
Yes.
What Democrats would be saying about this. So for them to pretend like, oh, there's nothing to see here and how dare you, and I take offense that you're even asking these questions is so incredibly disgusting to me. Now, I mentioned that letter. We can put that up on the screen. This is from the president's personal physician, who I also want to mention. You'll recall, under the Trump White House, he had Ronnie Jackson was his doctor, right? Who again was this personal friend, not very credible. Guess what? Kevin O'Connor, the president's physician, is a personal friend of the president, long time, also a business associate of his brother. So keep in mind, he has a conflict of interest. In any case, his claim in this letter, which you can read in full if you'd like, is effectively that the neurologist / Parkinson's expert who visited the White House many times was there to treat, as a general neurologist, he was there to treat other individuals who come to the White House medical clinic for care, and that he was the neurologist who examined President Biden for each of his annual physicals. So I guess, Saagar, maybe that's what they didn't want to admit, that President Biden had seen a Parkinson's specialist, and he goes to great lengths in this letter to say, listen, he's not just about this, he's a general neurologist, that's why he saw President Biden, et cetera. But this is the cleanup that they're attempting to do this morning.
The cleanup, and by the way, this actually answers the question, which is the real scandal. Yes, the neurological Parkinson's expert met with President Biden. Why did this particular expert come to the White House only 2023 onward and not previously? Did something change in that period where even the quack, okay, I'm not gonna say quack there, Mr. Kevin O'Connor, who again is a close family friend and who at one time explored a deal with Jim Biden, the president's brother. Why should I believe a word that this man is saying?
Yep.
And look, I was there in the briefing room for the whole Ronnie Jackson thing.
Yeah.
And to be honest, even Ronnie Jackson was more credible because he at least was the physician to Barack Obama. Okay, so we could say, all right, well, we didn't know at the time that he was actually a secret Republican all along, and now he's a Republican member of Congress.
His flag fly
Just saying.
now.
All I'm saying is that at the time when I was there, you should have seen it. I'll never forget. I came down into the basement afterwards where all the reporters are afterwards, and they were like, he's a lying POS, like blah, blah, blah. President's got heart disease. I don't trust a word that this man is saying. Where are you now? April Ryan, by the way, the lady who—
No, she pressed them yesterday too.
A little bit. Yeah,
she did.
Not in the same way that I remember.
Was not as aggressive as Ed O'Keefe
at that time.
or
Yeah, exactly.
Others,
and that's why props to Ed O'Keefe, props to Kelly and the rest of them, at least in the front row. Zeke Miller as well. while. I've criticized many of these folks, but his very first question was, I want to talk about the White House's credibility here because you basically lied to us about that medical checkup. I think it's at this point where it's so undeniable, even if you want to run cover for him, you can't. I mean, we are in a situation which is genuinely unprecedented. We're having somebody who is this old in the White House and so rapidly deteriorating, who is also seeking another 4 years. And this is why it's a terrifying question. Right now, today, Krystal, just less than a mile from where you and I are speaking, the world's NATO leaders are gathered to continue fueling the war in Ukraine, where President Biden will be meeting with Zelensky, Macron, the new prime minister of the UK, to pump $40 billion more into this conflict and presumably come up with some game plan about how we're going to keep this thing going on forever. Do you trust a man like that today to be in that meeting? 5 years from now, what are we going to be doing 5 years from now? What is the world going to look like? This is an urgent national security crisis now, as opposed to 5 years from now. It's terrifying.
Right. And you know, I think that domestic policy he basically has handed off to his advisors. Like I think the puppet master theory when it's back when it was Ron Klain, now it's Jeffrey Zients, whatever. Like I think they're running the show there. Unfortunately, I think Biden is still running the show on four. It's the only thing he talks about.
Yes.
You know, when he gets asked about his case for reelect, it's just like NATO, NATO, NATO. It's the only thing that he can think about or talk about. And he may mention that he's purportedly trying weakly and meekly and pathetically to get a ceasefire in Gaza. His foreign policy instincts are stuck in approximately 1975 Cold War era. He's so weak and feckless now it's all very clear why Bibi Netanyahu has felt free to do whatever the hell he wants to do because this guy's gonna stand up to me? Please, please. There was another aspect of this that I'm just so sad for the country right now and what we've become. And I'm not just talking about our leaders because you've got the MAGA cult, right? We've talked plenty about that. This cultish behavior on the Democrats' part at the base level is utterly pathetic. So anyone's reaction to that press briefing should be like, good, they're finally pressuring them, thank God. And this lady just got caught in a brazen lie. You know, I thought this was supposed to be different from the Trump White House. It's not. It's not, okay? They should be given no benefit of the doubt. They are just as brazen liars as anyone who stood at the podium for Donald Trump was. That's right. So let's be clear about that.
Or George W. Bush or Obama. You know,
correct.
I mean, that's the thing.
You signed up for that job. You are signed up to be a paid liar and propagandist. So spare me your I'm so offended. Get out of here with that. But the reaction to this that I saw so much, at least online, was how dare Ed O'Keefe. He owes her an apology.
Oh.
And this morning when he posted, or yesterday or whatever it was, that he posted the letter that the White House put, where's your apology? Now isn't it clear that she was in the right and you were in the wrong? Are you kidding? Like, what country do you just want this to be a total authoritarian nation where no one questions our dear leader? How pathetic is that? How pathetic is that? It's so sad. And you saw it too in terms of like the way that they just completely crushed any sort of Democratic primary process. They just went along with that. There were plenty who were like, yeah, good, that should be that way. We shouldn't have any democracy all in the service of defeating Donald Trump. And now that it's clear they're gonna lose to Donald Trump, they're still like, yeah, but we have to fall in line because of loyalty or something. Like it's a Whoopi Goldberg in that sentiment as well. It's so disgusting and pathetic to me. It's just sad. It's just sad.
Yeah, I mean, all I know is that a Parkinson's expert is meeting and examining the President of the United States, that his close family friend is his doctor. And I said this on our show yesterday. These people are not stupid. You think they're gonna write down, yeah, he's got Parkinson's? They know that would leak. FOIA, all that. Never write it down. Yeah. Oh, that would never happen before, right? Yeah, it would never happen that a president is getting injected with literal methamphetamine into his back and that we happen to just doctor the records. That's never happened before in history, right? It's not just like, come on. This is a tried and true practice. You put cronies in a position, as long as you cover up the records, you can basically do whatever we want. We didn't even find out that Obama was cracked out on modafinil until like 10 years later, which I don't judge. That's fine. You know, be my guest whenever you're traveling and you need a little bit of a boost. But my point is just that it took a decade, you know, to even figure out what the prescription pattern under the Obama administration was. look, I hate to say it, I hope he's still alive, but he could be long dead by the time we even know, whatever actually was going on behind the scenes, like with John F. Kennedy, like with many of these other folks. Just look at his deterioration. And this is the world's most stressful job. So all I am saying is that it is very terrifying. The White House has been caught in a brazen lie. The fact is that even after this line of questioning, they eventually came out and then just confirmed the worst suspicion, which is, the Parkinson's expert did examine the president. And he's examined him multiple times now. And he's meeting with the president's personal physician, who himself is covering up, or at least in a good position to cover up for the president if he wants to. And the scrutiny is only now starting to kick in. My only wish is that it had been many, many years before.
Just ask yourself what these Democrats would be saying if it was the same set of facts with Trump. If he was exhibiting the symptoms, if he was meeting and being tested by a Parkinson's expert, if there was an attempt to completely stonewall any questions about that, and then it was the personal physician / crony who releases the letter to try to explain away this damning set of facts. And yet, as we're about to discuss with you, it looks like Democrats are staying the course. It really looks at this point like he's just gonna hang in there and grind it down, as Dave Weigel said yesterday. And it probably will be kind of like an Access Hollywood moment where everybody shuts up, they pretend like they never said anything, they never had any concerns, and tries to move forward to doom in November is where we're headed.
Hey, if you like that video, hit the like button or leave a comment below. It really helps get the show to more people.
And if you'd like to get the full show ad-free and in your inbox every morning, you can sign up at breakingpoints.com.
That's right. Get the full show, help support the future of independent media at breakingpoints.com.